Well, this is the master at Fox Run. I think this is the windowsill that you were talking about, and that's probably just from there's some paint and stuff on the inside of that window as well. It's from condensation or rain coming in and sitting on that. It's slightly warped. It can be dealt with pretty easily, just caulking it in for the most part and painting it again. So if that's what you're talking about right there. Anyway, here's the basement. It's got high efficiency furnaces. The one on the right is from a 2005. Looks like it was replaced from the original one. This two high efficiency vents go out, as you can see up there. You can see a little bit of daylight. You got a masonry fireplace here with a B-dry system in the basement. That's supposed to have some sort of warranty on that as well. And then they've gone around and replaced patched all the rod holes with a polyurethane patch. In the clean out down here, there is some evidence of water, as you can see in the area here, but it's not much. It's probably runoff from either some, because it's got clay tiles up in the top of the chimney. I'll show you that in a second. So there might be some rainwater stuff that's collecting in there. There's no place to go. There's no drains or anything. It's not probably hurting anything. And the fireplace has been converted to gas, it appears. As you can see here, there's a gas line. Take 15 grand to finish this off with some reasonable materials. It's all framed in and stuff, maybe less because of the framing, and the mechanicals are all here in place, but you do have a bath. I wish I had this is the study here, and we're on the main floor here through this beveled glass door. French doors here and some wainscot moldings, floors that were finished in place. This is part of the fireplace. It's a masonry structure, very impressive on the outside. Big bucks to build. Wish I had my wide angle lens here to do a better job in here. There's a bar set up and shelving and stuff behind this area here. You've got round molding and dental molding in here throughout most of the house, in the bedrooms, everywhere. High end of finishes were here. It's kind of sunny out here. I don't know if you can see much in the backyard. There are some trees that may or may not be budding this spring. Here you're going to need a mason out here to do some tuck pointing. The ice and rain have worked their way into these joints, and so they need to be maintained before this starts falling apart further. I believe these boards are pre-finished panels. They're all pretty consistent. I think the issue here is there's really not much in terms of the boards that are going to have to be replaced, but there is some soft trim, especially below the windows here. Again, that material's cheap, but it's a pain to get a carpenter over to pull that board out, pop it back in, caulk, and then get it painted. So you can see some of these end caps have come off. See, like down in here. There is tie-back through all the stuff, as you can see right here. And more importantly, there's two panels I've found that kind of need probably replacing. This is one of them right here. Actually, this area here underneath this window could be just dealt with in terms of a decorative panel inset in each one of these with a little border trim and maybe a medallion in the middle or something like that in here. But you can see the cross section of these panels. They were composite right here, tie back in here, so as far as moisture penetration stuff, probably not much of a concern, but because they didn't get caulked in and maintained here. They started getting soft, so this is all soft right here. In fact, this is some of this wood here is soft too. I was able to stick a key in a couple of spots here, so that's why I'm saying under the windows and stuff is usually a sore spot where water runs down into these panels and catches in here when there's a caulk that hasn't been maintained, and that generally happens in this area as well. I don't think it's too bad. I mean, the biggest thing is get these gutters cleaned out, and so it doesn't continue to run over on the edges here. There is 2 panels, maybe 3 in this section here. The other one is right up there. That one you might be able to, I don't know how soft it is, but you might be able to save that. That's right below the master bedroom there. There's probably going to have to go around here on a ladder and check. Usually it's going to be underneath windows or areas where water could run off in those windows and collect in the corners. So that's usually the areas that are soft underneath another panel that's contributing water to it. The other soft spot was on the other side of this window. If you see that corner up there starting to flake off a little bit, that's probably soft as well. So this whole window box could be just dealt with so that's uniform, and you don't have to try to find those. All they are is they're just, it's cheap fiberboard panels that you can decorate. You can also buy some plywood and get somebody to do a knockdown and try to duplicate it if you wanted to have the simulated stucco look. It is not stucco. These are stucco-looking boards. So you can tap on them. It's basically wood composite that's got a finish, a knockdown finish put on over them. I think if you looked at some of these panels close enough, you'd probably see similar panels, because similar, I shouldn't say panels, but similar a knockdown pattern, because they're probably reproduced. But it's possible that they may have done these on site as well, and certainly could be reproduced in that manner. But if you look at some of these other houses, they all have some of the similar panels, at least the ones on either side of this one, including the neighbor over here. So this is that koi pond full of leaves and everything else be cleaned out. Again, there's a rubber liner stuff that's going to be held in by these boulders around the perimeter. The water shouldn't be allowed to come up over these boulders, such as it is over here. The water is a little lower than it has been in the past, but if you look around that tree, there are boulders around that tree that's underwater there, so there's too much water here. If you clean out some of the leaves, you'll see a boulder, a short little boulder wall here, and I'm sure right around that tree there's a boulder in a circular fashion, right around in here, in a circular fashion probably. So clean this up. You can see the boulders out over in here and stuff as well, and so bring the water level down. This would be pretty cool though, especially if you got a little splash, aerator and stuff going up in here as well. And you can open that master bedroom window up, and you have a nice little water effect there underneath that copper grid, and underneath this looks like a weeping cherry tree, big cherry tree, a weeping cherry there. It is a nice cul-de-sac here. Look even nicer when the stuff starts turning green. So anyway, that's about it. Some pains on the outside. The roof is, like you said, new. I don't see any serious issues on the outside here. It's just kind of a pain. Oh, speaking of which, let's take a nice shot of this chimney. You can see what I'm talking about. You got the clay tiles and stuff, or the clay funnels up there that are expensive, and then see how it's stepped at the top, and there's probably mortar that is busted or cracked up there. It needs to be put in. If you look at the tiles on the neighbors over there at the distance, you'll kind of see how they put a cap on the top of one and they put a vent in the other one, because they probably went with a regular 80% furnace where you've got 90%ers down there, and they lined that chimney. I would, you could put a cap on it. It takes away from the look. There might be other ways of dealing with it, especially maybe just a low riser, since you're utilizing it as a gas fireplace right now anyway, and still preserve that look. Just put a little vent pipe in up there that you can see from up top, but not from the street here. But again, it's a very nice looking chimney there. A little mortar and tuck pointing that's going to be necessary over there. So once these trees start coming in and somebody got out here with a rake and cleaned all this up, this would all look very nice. I noticed I'm going to go in the garage and take a look inside. Speaking of the garage, there is a little bit of some soft trim there. It looks like a corbel underneath the attic vent up there in the top. You can kind of see that right there. It's looking a little soft up there on some of the trim or whatever. I don't know if you can save that or not. It looks like this is one window and maybe two that has a vapor seal issue. You can see right in here there's a little bit of shadowing and stuff in here. Not a big deal. It's just it's a glass replacement, but each one of those panels are probably going to cost about $130, $120 a piece. Maybe a little cheaper if you're doing 4 of them like that. Of course, this handrails and stuff could be cleaned up a little bit here as well. We're in the garage. Got a little bit of an echo in here. There's an attic access up over here. There is a little bit of a lifted drywall seam or tape along an edge here where there's been some evidence of some moisture once upon a time. Most of these seams are not bedded very well in the garage in the first place. This one almost looks like somebody had repaired it and not did a very good job, because if you look at it real close, you'll see that it's reinforced mesh, which is so somebody just tried to go over that with a repair once upon a time and didn't do a very good job. It probably was some evidence of some moisture or something up there once upon a time, maybe from the previous roof before it was repaired. Certainly it wasn't very much damaged because none of it's bowed or looked like it ever got soft. It just lifted that seam in the middle. So I don't think there's much of an issue here. Certainly not, it doesn't look like a current one. It was probably something from quite a while ago. So I wouldn't worry too much about this. Your whole house inspector will get up there and double check it and just see if there's any evidence of any soft panels or anything in terms of the sheet goods that were up there that are underneath that shingle. But I kind of figure that that would have been assessed at the time they were putting the new roof on. I did notice too, by the way, on the bottom of one of these doors on the outside, there's a little bit of flaking at the bottom of this main door. Not much, maybe a quarter inch or something. Got an idea on that. You could just paint it up and leave it. Nobody would probably notice it but yourself. This is on the outside now, but there's a little trim idea that you can do. Just put a trim strip down on the outside of this door that's only maybe an inch or two wide. It's real thin, quarter-inch trim material all along the bottom just to cover that. If you really wanted to get fancy, you could go up and frame in the door with something actually a little wider, and it would look and fit the period of the Tudor-style house on the outside, but that's getting a little... Okay, so I've mentioned that you might spend a little more on the basement and a lot less on the exterior trim, but one of the things you did downplay that is going to add a bigger expense is this driveway. You've got some flags that are in okay shape, as you see over here, but on this one side here, they've heaved from one reason or another, and they've cracked in here maybe, and so all on this whole inside. See, these outside flags are okay, but the inside flags are not. And so you've got, that's going to probably need to get repaired, especially in this area right in here where it's right by your nice sidewalk and